Good motorcycle evening! Okay. I recently had an acquaintance who recently bought a motorcycle who was quite surprised that there's no gas gauge on the motorcycle. Now, some motorcycles do come with gas gauges. They're a little higher end than most. Some of the middle range or low end motorcycles, such as my Shady, they don't have gas gauges on there. But that's not to say the motorcycle is telling you how much gas it has left. It's just not telling you in a way you're accustomed. It doesn't have the E for empty and F for full. It just has an odometer and a trip meter. So here's how to figure out how far you can go on a tank of gas if you only have an odometer and trip meter. Okay, here we go. Step 1, research your bike. Find out how much gas your tank can hold in total. Look up the manual, ask the internet. They know. Find out how many gallons your bike can hold total in gas. Don't do this by going to the fuel pump and filling up your tank and assuming that's all it can hold, because most tanks have a reserve tank that is included in that total. Okay. So first, research how much your bike can hold. Second, go fill up your bike. Go fill up your bike at a gas station, and when you fill up your bike, reset your odometer to 0. Okay? Or not your odometer, your trip meter to 0. Okay? And then go ride. You fill up your bike, set your odometer to 0, and go ride. Ride at least 50 miles. Don't ride more than 100 miles, just in case your range isn't that much. But I'd say ride at least 50 miles, anywhere between 50 and 100, and go fill up again. Okay, but this time on your second fill up, pay attention to how much gas it takes to fill up your tank. And pay attention to how many miles you've traveled, because that's how much gas you've used to travel that many miles. You see where I'm going? Okay, so you'll take the number of miles you've traveled divided by the amount of gas you put in on the second fill up. You put in your tank on the second fill up. That'll give you your miles per gallon. Okay, so the miles traveled after the first fill up divided by the amount of gallons it took to fill up the second time will give you your miles per gallon. Okay? Then take your miles per gallon and multiply that times the capacity of your tank in gallons. And that will give you your range. Okay? So, fill up your tank. Set trip meter to 0. Drive for a while, ride for a while, ride for a while. Fill up your tank again. Take how many ever miles you've ridden, divided by how much it takes to fill up your tank. That'll give you your miles per gallon. Miles per gallon times how many gallons your tank holds is your range. Okay? Now if your range is 220 miles, you don't want to wait till 220 miles to fill up your tank, because you'll be pushing for that last half mile or so, maybe. You want to ride, you want to say, okay, every time I fill up, I'm going to reset my trip meter to 0, and I'm going to go 200 miles and fill up again. Okay? Most bikes have a reserve tank. If you don't have a gas gauge, most bikes have a reserve tank, and that will get you another 20 miles or so, but you don't want that to happen on an interstate. That will scare the bejesus out of you when that gas runs out and you have to switch while going 70 miles an hour down the road. It's quite harrowing. So try to beat it to that, and get gas before you actually run out of gas. That would be what I'd say to do. Now, your miles per gallon is going to vary depending on what kind of driving you do. So when you're doing this test, you want to do city driving. You want to do stop and go idling driving, okay? Because that's going to give you your worst possible mile per gallon rating. If you're riding out on the highway, just an hour or 2 or 3 straight, that's going to give you your best mile per gallon rating. If you do this test with your best mile per gallon rating and then you go and drive in the city for a day, you could very well run out of gas because you're going to get less miles per gallon because you're stopping at stoplights and idling and using gas and such. So do this test in the city. That way you have your worst range. At the end of this, you'll have the least amount of distance your bike can do on a tank of gas, and that way you'll have a good buffer and know when to get gas in all situations. Don't do this on a highway trip. Okay? Well, that is how to figure out how far you can get on a tank of gas on your motorcycle if you don't have a gas gauge. Well, that I could help. And I'll throw up the math formulas here. Yeah, I'm going to try not to hit a deer here at night. Put on my high beams. Y'all have a fabulous evening. Good mythical evening and morning tomorrow. See you then. Bye. Sorry guys, what I forgot to mention last night was that you can use this the range finder method for any vehicle that has an odometer, not just a motorcycle. So remember that. I mean, if your gas gauge goes out on your car, use your odometer. I mean, you can get your gas gauge fixed, whatever. If you don't have the money, use your odometer. That way there's no surprises. Okay? See y'all next time.